I'd like to welcome everyone to the organizational meeting for the Claymont City Board of Education. Roll call, please.
Ms. Campbell.
Present.
Mrs. Grandison.
Yeah.
Mrs. Host. Here. And Mr. Peters.
Here.
Miss Book will be here. She was delayed.
Okay.
Please rise for pledge of allegiance. Those, we start, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Martha, Solomon. Roll call.
Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison. Yes. And Mrs. Host.
Yes. I'll open the floor for nominations for president of the Claymont City Board of Education.
I nominate City Host. Second.
Okay, so we're going to show Martha and Solomon opening nominations for president. And then we're going to show Martha and Solomon.
Yep. With the actual nomination.
Yeah, that's okay. Roll call.
Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison. Yes. Mrs. Host.
Now I'll officially submit the nomination. We have to vote on that.
Yeah.
So now I officially nominate.
I'm voting yes
Yes.
to open the
Open.
nominations.
Okay.
Yes.
Now.
Now-
Now she's
Yes.
nominating.
Still second? Yeah, I second. Well, sorry, I hadn't.
I screwed that.
That's okay. We're good. Now you need a motion to
So moved.
close
Close the
the
nomination.
nominations.
The second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison. Yes. Mrs. Host.
Abstain. This is a lot of filling in. I'm just gonna tell everybody out there now, if you have one of these, good luck, because so then, are you going to administer one,
Now we.
to appoint Cindy Host for the president of the Claymont City Board of Education?
I mean.
I'll say.
All correct.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison. Yes. Mrs. Host.
Abstain.
I, Cindy Host,
I, Cindy Host,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the
of the
Constitution
United States
of the United
and the Constitution
States and the
of the
Constitution
State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform
faithfully perform
and discharge my duties
and discharge my duties
as President
as
of
president
the Board of Education
of the Board of Education
of the Claymont City School
of
District.
the Claymont City School District. I'm official? So I make a motion, we need a second, to open nominations for vice president of the Claymont City Board of Education. Roll call.
Mrs. Host.
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison. Yes. Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Okay, I nominate Solomon Peters for vice president.
And I second that.
I make a motion to close nominations for vice president of the United States. We need a second.
Second.
Oh,
Campbell? Yes. Mr. Peters?
Please administer the oath of office to the president of the Claymont Board of Education.
I, Solomon Peters,
I, Solomon Peters,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the
of the
Constitution
United States
of the United States
Vice President.
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my
to the
ability,
best of my ability,
faithfully perform
faithfully perform
and discharge
and
my
discharge
duties
my duties
as Vice President
as Vice President
of the Board of Education
of the Board of Education
of the Claymont City School
of
District.
the Claymont City School District.
Congratulations, Solomon, and everyone in the United States. Hey. Hey. Got a lot. Do you want to go through those, or do you just want to? Okay,
I can explain the first and A.
Okay.
And we can get the motion and second for the organizational items. So we had, under A, the calendar for the year, I bolded there 6 p.m. because that's what it has been in the past. But I didn't want to be premature and say 6 continue or not. It's the second Monday of every month. We do have one Thursday on July 10th, because if we have any hiring of any staff from another district, we can get them after that date. They have to be released. And I know Kim likes to close the books on June, at the last date would be, I think that's a Monday for a special meeting on that day. And everything else is the second, Monday of every month. Is everybody okay with that calendar? And then the committee. You want to go through
so the committees, I asked Mr. Wrench to send me the list from last year. I went through it and kind of stuff to sign. Tried to even it out a little bit. If there's something that your heart is set on that I didn't put you on, let me know. We can talk about that and then change if need be for at the February meeting. So.
And then you have the treasurer to pay bills with permanent appropriations, designate treasurer as signatory of state payroll and foreign checks, establish board service bond of $5,000. And I think last year we talked about that service bond amount and explained if we want to go back through that or not. Authorize the treasurer to request advances from the county auditor as necessary. Authorize the treasurer to invest interim funds. Interest from among funds shall be distributed in accordance with revised code 4222. Authorize the superintendent to employ teaching and non-teaching personnel as needed and present the names to the board for ratification at the next meeting. Authorize the purchase of a $20,000 bond for the board president. Authorize the treasurer and superintendent and treasurer to apply for state and federal projects. Designate the superintendent as purchasing agent. Establish a records commission to appoint board president, treasurer, and superintendent to the commission. Employ the legal firm of Pepple and Wagner as legal counsel for the district. Authorize the treasurer to sign telecommunication agreements as needed to comply with E-rate rules. Set the mileage at IRS rate of 70 cents, and the minimum wage is $10.70 for.
Make the motion.
I make a motion to approve the agenda items.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson? Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn. All right, everyone.
Thanks.
Is it on the witness?
That is, I know against the yellow.
Oh, yeah, sure. Just give me a second.
Okay, good. No, Jameson. Okay. Well, it's good. It's cut it out.
We're out. And then
Well,
What's the result? Oh. Oh.
Call the regular board meeting for the Claymont Board of Education to order. Roll call.
Ms. Campbell,
Present.
Mrs. Grandison, here, Mrs. Host here, Mr. Peters.
Here.
Mrs. Wall. Here.
Okay. Vision and mission of the Claymont City School District. Claymont City School District will provide each student an opportunity for a lifetime of success. And our mission in Claymont City School District creates an environment that nurtures, develops, and empowers each student. Our next meeting will be February 10th at 6 p.m. here at the Claymont Administrative Office. And as we just had our organizational meeting, we're going to skip the Pledge of Allegiance for a second time this evening. Hope it does not offend anybody. Item 3, board addendums, additions, corrections. Mr. Wrench?
Yes, we have 3 addendums to make under our board agenda. So under item A, 1 and 1 under the harassment and intimidation, 1 and 1 doesn't equal 1. But we did not have any reported between August to December of harassment and intimidation at the middle school. So that needs to be changed to 0. Okay. Item O, that is Horizons Transportation, and the cost of that after the first year went to $2 per mile. and it's up to $33 per day for aid costs to transport students. Now, we are in an agreement. Also, we're splitting costs with Tuscarawas Valley Local Schools to transport students as well. So we're not going to be paying as much as we were previously anticipating. And then under item U, under the athletics, we have some misspellings. So Neely Cox, her name is spelled Neeley, and her sister Nanette only has one N, Nannett. Actually, instead of three N's, she has two N's. But so those, so that would be for the volleyball. So I need a motion and a second to go through the addendum, please.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Peters,
Yes.
Ms. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison,
Yes.
Mrs. Host,
Yes.
and Mrs. Wolf.
Yes.
I need a motion and a second to approve the meeting agenda. Lois,
Second.
Martha. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Grandison? Yes. Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Host?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolf?
Yes.
Okay, commendations. Mr. Rennie.
Commendation, Allied Machine Engineering Corporation, they made a donation to our school system for the Project Lead the Way, and they made a donation of $3,114.29. So we want to thank Allied Machine for that. And then also the Yuritsville Eagles. I think the check actually says Yuritsville Eagles Nest Fundraising or charities, but they made some substantial donations. One of the donations is for an eye tester, and it's called a RetinoMax vision screener. It's a handheld device, typically a portable audio refractor and pyrometer, which is used to accurately measure a patient's refractive error, prescription, or vision screening, particularly for pediatric settings. So this will be used within our school. It's portable, accurate, and child-friendly. So we want to thank the Eagles for that donation. And also $6,000 for Guys with Ties. And if you were listening to WBTC this morning, Mrs. March talked about Guys with Ties. There are 46 students that are going to be participating. Each student will get a shirt and tie. And if you watch WKYC, they talk about the Mike Colleague companies. They promote that as far as the Boys and Girls Club. So they're doing that. That's through the Eagles. The Eagles were so enamored with this program, they're going to they also gave money to start in the future Girls with Pearls. So that is something that will be going on at the intermediate. We want to thank the Eagles. They've helped a lot of certain situations this school year.
A public participation.
So we're here today because we're part of an organization called Grant Kindness. It's a nonprofit. We volunteered to purchase a Hope Squad program here at Claymont. It's a mental health suicide prevention style program. My sister-in-law's here to speak on that. That's Tiffany Shaw. She's an advisor at her school district, which is the Tuscany Valley School District. She's going to let you guys know more about it. We've asked to come here today by a couple of the school board members to let everyone know what the program is about. So for their tip, speak on it.
All right, thank you. All right, so I do have a presentation here that I'll just kind of go through. First of all, I do want to thank the Board of Education for allowing us to speak, and Mr. Wrench. And also, thank you for serving as board members, as it is for member appreciation month. Appreciate that. So the next slide will show just some fast facts on suicide. Suicide is the third leading cause of death for ages 10 through 25. More teenagers and young adults die from suicide than from cancer, heart disease, AIDS, birth defects, stroke, pneumonia, influenza, and chronic lung disease combined. Each day in our nation, there are an average of over 3,000 attempts by young people in grades 9 through 12. And 4 out of 5 teens who attempt suicide have given clear warning signs. All right. So why Hope Squad? Well, Hope Squad does offer a unique perspective in tackling the topic of teen suicide. We know that that's sometimes a hard topic to talk about. And this program actually started in Utah and it is spread throughout the country. Research indicates that teens are actually the first to know when a friend is at risk of suicide, and students are already intervening, but they don't always know what to do. And in the case of Grant, that's exactly what happened. A friend did not know what to do. So what is Hope Squad? It is like Clint said, it's a peer-to-peer suicide prevention and mental health program designed to support the mental health and well-being of students. It focuses on training students to recognize the signs of emotional distress in their peers, provide support, and connect them to a trusted adult. So I want you to see the key word there is connect them. We are not training them to be counselors. The biggest thing is we want them to be connectors. We want them to be able to connect a student with a trusted adult. And the program empowers students to become mental health advocates and allies within their school community. So I have just a quick video. If we want to play that, I'm not sure if we have sound. If not, we'll go back. Go back. I don't think. Back. I think that's going forward. There we go.
You guys saw it? Yeah.
It's all.
Where are they all?
There you go.
There we go.
Just slide 4.
I just can't see where I'm going, so. No, I just can't see.
Okay, now it wants to annotate. It's okay.
Yeah. There, okay. All of it.
Suicide is the third leading cause of death among youth between ages 10 to 19 years old. 4,600 youth are lost to suicide each year. However, most suicides are preventable. Youth who are contemplating suicide frequently give warning signs of their distress. 7 out of 10 will tell a friend or give a warning sign that they are struggling, but many of their friends do not tell an adult. A Hope Squad is a group of students nominated by their peers as good listeners and caring fellow students. They work closely with the local mental health agency. Hope Squad students are taught by the school counselor and advisors on how to recognize suicide warning signs in their peers and provide support. Hope Squad members are trained on how to talk to a fellow struggling student. If the peer needs help, they listen and then try to convince them to go see an adult in the school. If that does not work, they inform a school counselor about their concerns about their peers, so the advisors can contact the student and the parents for additional help and support. Hope Squad members also bring suicide prevention awareness to the entire school by holding an annual Hope Week, where fellow peers are given information about suicide prevention. For more information, please visit www.hopeforutah.com.
All right, and so how Hope Squad works, like the video alluded to, there are peer support teams. So students are selected based on their leadership qualities and also their empathy. We at Tusky Valley call them the eyes and ears of our school because these are those trusted individuals. It's not necessarily a popularity or it's not a popularity contest. It truly is the students vote on who they can go to and who they can trust at school. From there, we can advance. We then invite the students to become members of Hope Squad. Of course, we we have a parent meeting and explain what this is about. But then again, the peer connection is really key because we need to know what is going on in the school and what better to know than the kids. And so, like the video just shared, we want them to connect. We want to be able to then connect our students with our school counselors. And that is something, you know, I just feel like one of the things that Grant and the friend talked about at the last talk that Grant had was, you know, the students that we can talk to the counselor, you know, we can do this. And so I just feel like, you know, if he was trained, he would have known that next step on what to do. All right, and then the other thing is, in terms of Hope Squad, there are regular check-ins. So squad members maintain ongoing communication with students who might be struggling. And then there is lastly, that adult partnership. So the program, of course, works closely with our school counselors, mental health professionals, if you employ those, and then teachers. So at our school at Tusky Valley, we do have our school counselors are part of the Hope Squad, as well as a handful of teachers act as Hope Squad advisors. So if there is an issue, those students, our Hope Squad students, can come to us and then connect us with those students who are struggling. All right, so the benefits to schools, what do we see? So first of all, reduce suicide rates. Research shows that schools with Hope Squads experience a reduction in suicide rates among students. Also, increase mental health awareness. So Hope Squad promotes a culture of understanding and acceptance around mental health. I know for so long that has been kind of a taboo topic, but now we recognize the importance of mental health. Also, the benefits to school is improved student well-being. Students who are part of Hope Squad and have a Hope Squad at their school often report a greater sense of connection to their peers. Also, strengthen peer relationships. So by building just a network of caring students around the school, students then have that trusted peer to also go to. And then lastly, better academic performance. So when students feel supported emotionally, they are obviously, we know they're able to focus then on academics. And then of course it empowers students. It gives them the tools that they need to be able to support their peers in a meaningful way. And so from Tusky Valley's perspective, you probably remember back about 10 years ago, there was a cluster of suicides in Stark County. And we started to see that trickle effect in our district in terms of attempts talking about it. And so we saw a marked increase in the number of social and emotional referrals to our office. It not only an increase, but also in intensity and severity. A wide range of depression, anxiety, family issues, abuse, neglect, self-injury, and suicide. We have seen a decrease in resiliency, empathy, social problem-solving skills. And then also that we also see that this did not discriminate. There was no boundaries against race or gender or socioeconomic status, athletes, band students. I mean, it was across the board that we were seeing. And so it was actually at the OSBA conference that our administrative, team and also board members attended a breakout session and, on Hope Squad, and that's how they found out about it. And that was in 2017-ish. We started doing the research and then we started implementing in 2019. The program strands, I won't go into it there, but you can see, I do just want to recognize though that, this curriculum does meet the tier 1 SDL, standard that we are required. So, I know Mrs. Barnhart and I have talked about that at length, just making sure that it is gonna, meet that. But then how do we actually fit this into our schedule, practically speaking? So what we do is we have, it's built into our schedule every Friday. We actually go onto an alternate bell schedule where our groups get together. We call them base camps. And we kind of make that a community. That's a community at the end of every Friday that we get together and students know that they can talk. And there's also one Hope Squad member in each of those groups. The format is a restorative circle type. And then each base camp includes discussion questions and just allows that Hope Squad member to lead it. All right, and then just as an aside here, we do have what we call our recharge room. This is at our new Tiscabella Middle High School, where students at any time can go into this room. We do staff it with 1 to 2 Hope Squad members at every period of the day. And so if a student is needing help, immediate help, they can go into the recharge room. We have them sign in on a Chromebook that then goes to the people who need to be notified, also the teacher where that student is supposed to be. Okay, so that's a great thing. And then QPR, this provides a skill set to save a life, much like CPR or the Heimlich maneuver. This is not a form of counseling or a treatment, but what it does is it offers hope through positive action. It allows students to know what to do in a life or death situation. Also, just as an aside, and this is something that you guys could do as well, but we have partnered with the Suicide Coalition in Tuscarawas County to help with the implementation of this. And then in our community, our Hope Squad is very involved. We often do presentations to local churches and community. We participate and help with the Suicide Memorial Walk in September. We do community book studies. We partner with our local Bolivar branch of the Tusk Library. We are partners with Till 360, the Adams Board, Suicide Coalition. So those, and again, this is something that we have been doing this now for several years. But it really has made an impact in our community. And so with that, Grant, it was my nephew and just loved him dearly. He went on all of our family vacations with him. And so as a family, we decided, we cannot let one more student, let this happen to one more student. And we just have a passion to really, bring this to the Claymont schools. And it's, through, unfortunately, Grant's death that we're hoping to save other lives. And so we formed our Grant Kindness Board. So we have turned our pain into purpose. We actually had our very first official board meeting yesterday. We are hoping to be able to partner with Claymont schools to be able to help provide, the financial support to be able to bring Hope Squad to Claymont, not only with the initial financial cost, but also the ongoing cost, the yearly fees that it costs to run the program, as long as you're willing to do it. And so I think that's the last slide is, we were able to fully financially support the implementation of Hope Squad at Claymont City Schools if approved and able to sustain the yearly cost associated with that in honor of Grant. So that is what I have. Are there any questions?
I guess, I don't know if it's necessarily a question for her, but what needs to be done on our end to help implement this here? I mean, because it seems like a great thing to me.
Yes, so there is a training involved. And so I know Mrs. Barnhart and I, we have been, talking really, since August, to be quite honest, about how we could help get this implemented. And I mean, it's not just here, here's the book, run with it. I mean, your staff, not all staff, whoever, you guys can pick, or, you guys, people can volunteer. You obviously need to have your school counselors, on board. But then the process would be, choosing advisors, Hope Squad advisors, or asking them to volunteer. And they would go through a training. And so Hope Squad actually, there's a couple of different ways. Since COVID, they have been coming to on-site. I'm not sure if you can go out off-site now or not. When we did it back in 2017, 18, we did a training down in the Cincinnati area. But since then, like just this last year, we did not every year, but every so often we bring them in, and they actually just came right to our school when we met with them in August. So the first step would be, connecting with Hope Squad, the organization Hope Squad, and then setting it up from there. But in terms of like the financial aspect, I know Grant Kindness, our nonprofit, we are, willing to fund that.
You said the Hope Squad advisors, are those the students that are, you call them the eyes and ears, are those the students that are being trained?
So that is the Hope Squad. So the Hope Squad advisors would be like the teachers or school counselors, yeah, basically, and, some administration. That would be your advisors. And then the Hope Squad is going to be the students who are essentially voted by their peers to be able to be the trusted students. And so typically that takes place in the fall. And then what we have done at Tusky Valley is we actually, so a couple other schools have it. Dover has a Hope Squad. Indian Valley started one a couple of years ago. But we actually combine with them. So we invite them to our retreat. We kind of have trained them on how to do it. And so like this last year, we had the students were voted on in early September. And then we do a retreat like end of September, and we train them on, the QPR curriculum, what to look for, how to connect with an adult. And then at that point, then we start scheduling like students to be in the recharge room. But again, you guys don't have to do all of that right at once. I know that when Mrs. Barner and I were talking, it can be, baby steps. And we are more than willing. I mean, I've talked with Dr. Bransky, and we are more than willing at Tusky Valley to be able to come alongside and help you guys get this process started.
And then, sorry for the question, but, so the advisors train the Hope Squad.
Yes.
So when the advisors go to, say, you said you went to Cincinnati, or say they come and train the advisors, they are able to train the kids as they come and they graduate and train the next wave of kids? Okay.
Yeah, and so it's important that you have trusted students at every grade level, because obviously that senior group is going to go out. So it's not just your seniors. So you would want, all 4 levels if you're just starting at the high school. That's what we did. We started at the high school, then we brought it to the middle school. There is even an elementary curriculum, which, we would like to look into that here now that we're all on one campus. But yeah, so all 4 grade levels you would want those students, and then those students then would move up and they would stay on Hope Squad. And we never ever kick off any student, you know, like, if you're on, you're on because you have been voted that by your peers. However, you know, we've not had to kick anybody off, but if somebody turns a new leaf or bad leaf, then we would have to have that conversation. Does that help solve
No, yeah, no.
that?
So I hear curriculum,
Mhm.
so then there's that, from a board perspective, and I guess I'm asking you, Mrs. Miles, too. That's something, that's where the board would have to be involved as far as approving the curriculum. Depending on how you.
It's part of this, so
Right.
we have to figure out, can we make a schedule to use this curriculum, but it is, you said approved SEL. correct?
Yes, it is, yeah. And for Ohio's, tier one. SEL, yeah.
So it sounds like you just have to do some collaboration and conversation, and it's a remarkable program. And, I fully support it, and I'm obviously sorry for your family's loss.
Any other?
I'll just say, that I know when Mrs. Barnhart took a job at the high school, that was one thing that she had on her to-do list. You know, being a new administrator, I said, Kelsey, there's things that you were biting off that sometimes you need to continue to kind of work through them. So Hope Squad has always been on her, I was in her office today, it's on her board to do things, and, it will begin, as we talked earlier, that we need to get staff trained by the springtime, so that way we are up and running for next year, and I know that's a goal that we will accomplish.
And again, just, you know, in talking with Dr. Bransky, you know, he has also shared, again, whatever we can do as a district to support you guys bringing on, we're more than happy to do that. If that is, you guys come to our retreat in September instead of trying to do your own, that's what we've done with Indian Valley the past couple of years to help with that implementation. You know, we're more than willing to do that. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you both for being here.
Are there any updates for the administrative reports? Holly, do you have anything for CEA? I think anybody's here for OC. No, okay. Okay, we have our board meeting next week. So,
I want to go over a couple things, so
Sure.
can you pull up the career expo? It's,
Yeah, but it's on the same tab as this one. You can't see.
Being on the Twin City Chamber Board, we have committees, and some of the committee that I sit on is the Economic Development Committee. And it talked about with the group of people on that committee, kind of lost, you lost track of what happens in schools. And we talked about our career tech pathways. And as I said recently, you know, when I was in school, we had woodshop, we had home ec, we had, you know, variety of different other classes, you know, typing, you know. But we still have those types of classes, but they're called different. They're differently now, and they're career pathway classes. So it's a conversation. It's been one of, Kevin Johns is on the committee, and it's his big passion as far as how can we connect kids to the business world and also the business world to kids, because, you know, how can we make the next entrepreneur? So from that discussion, we're having a Career Business Expo. That'll be February 19th. This flyer was sent by the chamber. So if you have a business and you're part of the chamber, it's $10 to have a booth. So what we'll do is we'll introduce at the beginning, our students will present their programs, and then we'll cycle kids down to the gymnasium where they'll meet and talk with the local businesses. And so you don't have to also be a chamber member. I know Lois has said she's going to have her group with a member there. I don't know, or everybody, I know you were landscaping. They may want to come down and talk about their jobs there. So, and Kelsey volunteered, Courtney Beckley to do a booth on education. So we'll talk about what's in education, not just teaching, but all the other positions that we have in education as well. So we're expecting a nice crowd of businesses, but I think it's going to be well received by not only our businesses, but also our students. So I just wanted to kind of go over there and put that on your radar. We do have a snow day on the calendar for makeup in case we do have a snow day. But it's February 19th. So if you know anybody that might want to be there, so it's $10 for chamber members, and 25 for non-chamber. So and I just have, that's all I have there. I'm gonna, yeah, you can jump up.
I just wanted to give an update on the solar project. I know that, it's just kind of been in flux here the last month. Our original go live date was January 10th. And, the company, it's called Onyx Resources, is the financial piece of that. That's funding this, didn't have the paperwork that they needed to get done, so we rescheduled that. And that was rescheduled for Martin Luther King Day. The, what has to happen is AEP requires before we go live that there's a live fail test of power. And they've got some different scenarios that they do. It's about 2-hour outage of power. So then it's scheduling with the school, when can we actually do that? Has to be Monday through Friday between 8 and 5. So we had a schedule for Martin Luther King. They, Onyx did not get the paperwork done in time to do that. So the next day we have that is a possibility that high school would be President's Day in February. So that's going to push that go live back pretty much a month. So I just can't figure out a way with the 2 hours. We've got things that happen after school, practices, things like that, that without power, they really can't, we need to have people out of the building if we don't have power there. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what was going on with the project. So we're just kind of waiting for that last cross the T and dot the I before we go live. Okay. Thank you for the update.
Yes. I want to go through one more thing. It's, I think Tiffany said it was Board Appreciation Month, and behind Martha and Solomon, it's superhero board members. So the Ohio School Board Association has sent a certificate of appreciation for your participation and your service as board members. So we have Ms. Campbell, you're being a superhero. Board members, and I want to thank Andrea for bringing in the cookies and the water for our ceremony at the end. So if you want to partake, if you already ate one. I know Mr. Host was but thank you. Thank you for your service on this part of the board. I know it's hard being part of, making sure the operations of the school district run and it's not overlooked. So thank you.
Is there any other reports or updates?
I had to.
Sure can. Use the microphone.
This is really quick. In my report, I forgot, and so I sent you guys the email with the video. Just wanted to make sure that you saw the safety video that I sent to you. I meant to include it, and I forgot. So that was an additional little video that some of our student and one of our
The other administrative reports or updates? Okay. Let's move on to board discussion, 2025-2026 school calendar.
And we presented a couple calendars, a couple times as the calendar committee, and with the classified staff and the certified staff, come up with wonderful calendars. Calendar draft day was actually, I got word today, and that was the best one. It's liked and what preferred out of this. The school would, I'm asking that we'll, under new business, approve this one. School would begin with staff on the 15th of August. And then we still have some dates there. One thing we did cut down on professional development days, because we were doing the science and reading of the letters. So that letters training is done this year. So that really helps cut down those days. We get more teaching time with this. At the end of the year, the end of the 9 weeks will be May 28th. And Friday, the 29th will be work day, and we'll graduate that night as well. Calendar B, which wasn't selected, but it's in there, on there. It was starting school on the 11th of August, and then ending school was Friday, the 20th. Teacher work day with graduation on the 22nd. But calendar A is the one that was preferred by the classified and the certified staff. And a majority vote for the certified was like 70% for calendar A. So that's what we had. Passing the school calendar as calendar A under new business.
Need a motion, a second to approve the treasurer's items.
End of December, so we're 6 months in already. So revenues were at 47.43% on a 50% budget right now. We're up under a 0.5% from last year's revenues. Interest were at $225,000. Property tax revenue, we'll start seeing that coming in. Usually it's higher in the second half of the fiscal year than the first half. And I'll start asking for advances from our county auditor this month. Expense wise, we're also a little bit below budget at 47.3%. We are up 2.41% over last year, 85.6% related to salaries and benefits. So total revenues in the general fund so far is at 10.8 million, with expenses just shy of 10.8. So we had a December deficit of $442,285. We're still at a small surplus for the year at $38,884. True days cash of 121 days. Month of December, 139,781 was reimbursed by our grants, federal and state grants, and our lunch program, 68,239. So with all funds, the ending balance for December was at a little over $8.3 million. So on your agenda to approve is the financial report for the month of December, payment of bills for December, the minutes of the regular board meeting for December 9th. Did have one item on the benefit certificate, and then accept the donations from the Allied Machine and Engineering and the Jerseyville Eagles to donations of this mentioned in the comment.
Okay, discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Campbell? Yes. Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison?
Yes.
Mrs. Toes?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolf?
Yes. Motion and second to approve the superintendent items. Lois? Michelle? French?
Under item A, for Ohio Revised Code 3313-666, we have to amend the 6-month polling harassment report for August through December, and then we'll do January through May in the spring. We had 3 incidences of bullying at the middle school between that time period, 3 within the district, and we had, as I made a change, remember with the addendum, 1 high school incident of harassment, intimidation, and a total of 1 for that. We're going to recommending the approval of the resignation for retirement purposes as Director of Operations effective July 31st, 2025. Beth has been invaluable at working hand in hand with Steph. She knows her stuff, and she's running the operations as far as technology and building the ground. We've done a lot of stuff together. Wish you well when you retire. We still have you for 7 months. But you've been a great employee, but more importantly, an invaluable friend. We want to approve the 3-year administrative contract for William Bonanno effective August 1st, 2025. And its salary is $71,656. And then approving the 3-year administrative contract for Rachel Smith effective February 10th. Accepting the resignation of Bonanno's assistant tech at July 31st, 2025, and bring Smith the HVAC coordinator to be effective February 9th as they transition. We have a 1-year limited contract for 90-day probationary period for Jonathan Solga as HVAC coordinator at step 6 at Coast Guard January 27th and pending proper employment credentialing. And that gives him time to work with Brady until Brady steps into his role as well. Approved 1-year limited contract with 90-day probationary period for Marky Tarvelson. That's a 2.5-hour cook at the high school, step 0. Approved Maria Hall, long-term preferred permanent substitute at the VA daily rate with benefits. That will be effective December 10th. As you know, she's been substituting for Mrs. Warner as she's been out. The mock trial, they have had a trip to the University of Cincinnati, January 3rd through 4th. FFA has a state convention, April 30th through May 2nd, and that'll be in Columbus. The chaperone of Daniel Russell, that is the husband of our teacher, Jasmine Russell, as an FFA chaperone for that trip. We have a couple contracts to approve. The Black Tech is a district-wide wireless at the cost of $133,442 with contingent upon E-rate approval. And there's been some discussion about whether E-rate will be there or not be there. If it does go away, then we'll not continue to move forward with that at that number. But we've got conflicting things as far as whether it will or won't. So we're hoping it still goes. Computech, the lowest bidder for the high school cabling project at $29,294. Contingent upon E-rate approval. Computech for the intermediate work, a wiring rack upgrade, $3,522, and we're responsible for 15% of that. As I made an addendum, Horizon Transportation will be $2 per mile and $33 for the aid costs. We have Gardner at a fixed annual cost of $12,608 for HVAC maintenance from January 1st through December 31st, 2027. And that contract used to be much higher. We've been able to negotiate that down and bring them in for our annual checkups for our systems. Memorandum of understanding, this will be for College Credit Plus at Kent State University for next school year. And then we have our membership to the House School Board Association, cost of $7,915.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Anderson? Yes. Mrs. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Host?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
I need a motion and a second to approve the recommendations of Justin Jones, Athletic Director.
So moved.
Martha? Second. Lois.
We have the athletic supplemental for this spring for Blake Weinert as high school track assistant. We have some volunteers for track as well, Blake Cameron and Spencer Milburn. And then we have the supplemental contract for next school year for volleyball, Neely Cox as head coach and Nanette Cox as assistant.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison, yes, Mrs. Host,
Yes.
Mr. Peters,
Abstain.
and Mrs. Wall.
Yes. Under new business, we need a motion and a second to approve school calendar A that was voted on by CEA and OPSI as a preferred contract. Solomon,
I'll second it.
Martha, any discussion? I would just like to thank the committee, the calendar committee, for the time and effort that goes into putting the calendar together, because I'm sure it's not the easiest thing to put a bunch of people around the table and have a lot of ideas and personalities on what they want to do, and you can't make everybody happy all the time. So I appreciate your guys' efforts in doing that, and majority rules. So we got a calendar, that makes it even better. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Peters,
Yes.
Ms. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison,
Yes.
Mrs. Host,
Yes.
and Mrs. Wall.
Yes. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Martha?
Second.
7:03. Thank you, everyone.
Don't forget, we have cookies.